Introduction. The Jack Hopper Trilogy is a true story. It's just that some of it hasn't happened yet. Most good stories outlive the present, unlike their storytellers. In modern literature, it's like hen's teeth to find a story good enough that you want to remember it. I hope this is one. If you do remember it, please feel free to share it with others. You might become very popular as the prophecies within the story are increasingly confirmed by time. It seems that our short-sighted modern society has lost hold of the greatest legacy of civilization, namely, the knowledge. Each culture is built around the ancient knowledge of its ancestry. That is what keeps a culture alive. When a people lose their grasp on the answers to basic questions of life, they're lost. They tend to deny their own direction and fear change, even when it's good for them. In order to rediscover the original principles of nature lost to us by our own history, we tend to seek answers outside of our own frame of reference. When I sought those answers, thank God some Hopi elders were there for me. Now, 40 years later, I have witnessed the fulfillment of numerous local and global events that are clearly described in the ancient oral body of knowledge known as the Hopi prophecy. In fact, many elders have told me that all of their prophetic predictions of the last 5,000 years have come to pass. The beauty of writing stories is that there is a lesson to be had in each one. A different part of you gets to have its day, and it lives on, stimulating others on their terms. This narrative describes a period of time including the past, the present, and the future. The first part spans some of the recent past, as lived by myself and some other people who shared this history with me. We still carry the spirit of the story in our hearts as we walk among you today. One character in particular is no longer walking among us. God rest his loving soul. This book is dedicated to the memory of that dear brother, Jack Hopper. He lived in interesting times and was a wild raconteur in his youth, a visionary ceremonial leader and father after that, and finally a deeply respected elder in the Baha'i faith. The other characters continue to live their spiritual instructions as spiritual warriors. They will remain anonymous just so they can sneak up on you sometime. Coyote stories always have had a lesson in them. I was raised on Aesop's fables. When I grew up and went native, I discovered that coyote stories had the same lessons, known as morals in Aesop's time. That's when I realized that if you have a teaching that is simple enough to be learned, it might fit best packaged as a fable or a coyote story. The trouble with most coyote stories is that poor Coyote is usually the brunt of the lessons, and his lessons are always hard and sometimes fatal. For that reason, I wanted to write a coyote story where he finally succeeds. And since Coyote Wolf is my totem, it was easy to let him out and seek his own redemption. The first book was essentially written 30 years ago. I had to stop in order to grow into the rest of the story. Last year, at the completion of one of my many epic moves, I ran across that old manuscript. The first thing that hit me was that it was written on a typewriter. Remember those? And it was on onion skin vellum to boot. It was an experience not unlike unearthing an ancient hieroglyphic tablet. As I finished reading it, I wanted so badly to see how it all came out from there. I wrote the other 2 books. I'm sure glad I did, because everything came out all right, and that's the way I like things to turn out. How I wrote these books was honestly a mystery to me all the way through. I wrote the first chapter lickety-split. Then I told myself that I had violated my Grandpa Joe's first commandment. He always told us to stay behind the medicine. I didn't even have an outline. As soon as I realized that I was ahead of myself, or thought I was, this voice came through saying, "Hey, what makes you think you're the only author here? I'll lead the way, and you just select the right words. Just relax and see yourself as the first reader." After that, it was all smooth sailing. When the late grandfather David Manongya, the last authorized presenter of the Hopi prophecy, asked me to continue his work, he warned, "This is going to make both of us very controversial." Then after a pause he added, "Oh, what the heck. Nowadays, if you're not controversial, you must not be accomplishing anything." So based on his wise insight, I want to apologize to any of the great people of the Hopi Nation who might feel I went too far. To you, all I want to say is, I am sorry if you don't like this version of the story. Please feel free to write your own version. I'm really curious how that would come out. When David lived, we shared this vision. If he could read this today, I feel confident that he would endorse my version. In my deepest discernment, I was given the go-ahead by those spirits I try to follow. They say that these times call for courage. If your perspective challenges others, then it's worth sharing. I listened, and this book was a result. I hope this story inspires you to become a spirit warrior yourself, and as the prophetic instructions urge us all to do at this crucial time, that you will put it all on the line for future generations. As the elders have said, this could be a good time. Only together can we dance awake the fifth world. Here is a model of just how that might look.